If you want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. So again, I gotta keep doing this just to report these stories because this has to be for just in case. So, just for YouTube to understand, this is just a critique of the news story that was specifically going on. This is not to try to entice any type of negative actions towards any specific groups directly out there, any marginalized groups, directly out there in any type of way, shape, or form. Again, this is just a critique and an opinion about a news story that is out there that anybody, including yourselves, are able to read. Two female students have been left with injuries after a altercation with a trans-identified male student in the women's restroom at a high school in Edmond, Oklahoma. A police report related to an event that took place in a women's washroom at Edmond Memorial High School. The report, dated October 26th, reveals that a trans-identified male student was handed a juvenile summons after two female students were left with injuries following a fight he had reportedly initiated with them in the women's washroom. On October 26th at approximately 8 a.m., police responded to reports of a fight that had broken out at Memorial High School in the small community of Edmond, Oklahoma. Upon arriving, the officer found a female student with injuries at the nurse's station. The attending officer noted the female victim had several red areas on her face and that both of her eyes were beginning to swell. The officer conducted an interview with the victim, whose full name was redacted due to her age. The female student advised the officer that a trans-identified student, indicated by the letter A, had approached her in the women's washroom while she was speaking to friends. She explained that it had tried to talk to her and she had ignored him, at which point it began to get angry and asked if she wanted to fight while approaching her with balled fists. The victim said that the trans-identified student then hit her in the face, and she indicated in her statement that she was not strong enough to fight back due to the force of the blow. The transgender student pulled the girl's hair and forced her to the ground, at which point hands and feet began raining from the sky. The victim's friends, who had been in the washroom at the time, witnessed the incident and were pleading with it to stop. One of the other female students attempted to intervene and was punched twice on the left side of her face by the assailant. One witness indicated that the girl had tried to step in because he is a man, and she felt her friend's life was at risk.
Another one.
A fight in a restroom at Edmond Memorial High School has spurred questions from parents and a state official. It happened at the end of October, and Friday the district publicly addressed it. The 3-page-long police report is filled with several accounts of what happened. The questions from parents prompted the school district superintendent to make video that breaks down the event between a cis and transgender student in the Edmond Memorial girls' bathroom. You need to hear from us and know what happened. On October 26th, there was an event at Edmond Memorial High School. Edmond School Superintendent Dr. Angela Grumwood explained that event is still on parents and the soon-to-be state superintendent minds more than a month later. When the student enrolled as a female and presented themselves as a female and so has been accepted as a female, Dr. Grumwood said. State Superintendent-elect Ryan Walters said in a video he posted on Twitter, "Our legislature and governor passed and signed a bill that says boys cannot go into a girl's restroom. That law is aimed at transgender students. Per the law, students have to use bathrooms that coincide with the sex written on their birth certificates. However, per the police report, the student, who is transgender, didn't have a sex listed on her birth certificate. Her sex at birth instead was on a separate paternity affidavit. Edmond School Superintendent also said a birth certificate isn't needed for a student to start school. If a parent comes in and enrolls their child as a certain gender, and when you look at that child, by all social norms, they look and present themselves as that gender, it's not something that you would question," Dr. Grumwood explained. Dr. Grumwood said the student isn't at Edmond Memorial anymore. She only started at that school a few days before the event with hopes to make a new start, according to the police report. Also in that police report, the student she fought with had injuries and possibly a concussion. Her parent agreed to press charges. Dr. Grumwood also emphasized Edmond Public Schools does enforce the bathroom law. "We have a policy that our school board enacted in August of this school year that says all students must go to their bathroom of their birth gender," Dr. Grumwood said. Walters also said in his Twitter post, "I will be announcing an investigation into Edmond Public Schools to find out what happened." Walters also said he'll require all public schools to send their bathroom policies to him for review.
Another one.
And in a third story, this is what was stated. The student's mother stated that her child suffered a lot of mental and emotional issues and blamed one of the victims for bullying her child for being transgendered recently. The police report noted both parties put up Snapchat posts on their social media accounts following the incident that an officer told them to take down. The school district confirmed to Fox News Digital that student A no longer attends the school.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Now, I just want to reiterate to anybody that's out there not to be confused. Person A is the individual that started the whole thing. That was the one that pretty much took down both of the other students with zero to no problems at all. Person A is also the same exact person that did not have an identity that was listed. They had something after the fact when they were registered, and they stated that, in order to use certain bathrooms, you have to be registered as either, whatever on a birth certificate, and then whatever you're assigned as, then that's what you go directly to. But they, for whatever reason, decided to go directly over that, hop, skip, and jump, and go directly to point C to try to alleviate points A and B. And that's what they did. That's what the parents did. So now once an incident basically occurs, um, you have this mother trying to play blame games, trying to blame all the other students for the reason that their child decided to act out. And then wanted to go on a whole thing of like, oh, they have mental this and mental that. Really? Really now? You don't say. So if that is the case, why don't you go take them to receive some therapy? Why don't you go take them to a psychologist? If you're saying that mentally your child is suffering in some type of way, that's normally what most people would do. If there's anything going on that they don't understand, they're going to go to a professional to seek help in order to understand what it is that is going on, right? In order to seek an understanding of what is going on so that they can better understand themselves from another's perspective who is able to, see these things. And then you hear directly in that one little blurb that the mother, again, wanted to push all the blame on everybody else, even though, even though that mother's child was the one that was charged. Notice how the other two students didn't get charged. I wonder why. I wonder why. Color me surprised on that, but I wonder why. And again, that student is going to end up facing charges, but I'm not really sure what's going to come of those charges because it seems that stuff like that disappears, when it comes to things of this nature. Even when you happen to look up this story, it's not going to be like you're going to find like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 articles directly about this. There's going to be a few out there, but it's not going to be in abundance. So again, pay direct attention. Um, the other thing that I wanted to list is that I 100% believe the other two students because it was something that I read on another site. I might have to try to paraphrase this, right? And this was stated by one of the witnesses. So bear with me as I try to paraphrase. One of the witnesses said, I was calming a friend down and I heard screaming, so I stood up, went out of the stall. So if I could jump in, I could. They were screaming. Um, Redacted told her to leave her alone and to stop looking at her. And then they started screaming at each other. And then Redacted threw the first, hit, then basically jumped on her. Redacted started swinging to save her life because Redacted is a biological, I'm going to say force to be reckoned with. Then I tried to jump in. Redacted also hit Redacted. Redacted, from what I saw, rained down hands and feet onto the student twice and then pulled up and she collapsed and then the principal walked in. Right, had to use, well, first of all, some of the stuff was redacted, for whatever reason. And I felt like they did that to try to make it seem as though it's all like the same grouping of individuals when it's clear cut. It's clear cut. There are differences that are transpiring. One side is winning, the other side is losing. Even with more numbers, the other side is losing. So again, I don't know what else to sit up there and tell people. I'm just going off of the things that I am able to see and the things that I am able to read. This is not my first time in a sense covering stories specifically like this. I covered something some years ago, and you know, hey, people gonna have to figure this out. Whew, yo, trying to sit up and tell people it's like, yo, people gonna have to figure this out, and it's gonna get better before it gets worse, um, because events like this just should not happen at all. The amount of damage that took place in a short amount of time should, in a sense, tell people the differences, but people want to act as though there are no differences. Like I said, I don't know what to tell people. I do not know what to tell people at all. I just don't. I put it to you like this: even in the uh, the insect world, you will have certain species of spiders that are stronger than other spiders. I'm not going to sit up there and expect a daddy long legs to be able to take out a wolf spider or a bird catching spider. I'm not. I am not at all expecting that to even be able, even a possible thing to even transpire. Not even possible. But yet here we are. But yet here we are. You know, like I said, I don't know what else to tell people. I really don't. I really don't. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. You're going to end up having more incidences of individuals getting into altercations, getting into arguments, a variety of things, of that nature. And yeah, like I said, parents, y'all got to be on it. Y'all got to be the ones to, you know, really push forth. Y'all got to be the ones to really speak up and speak out about these things, because I'm not sure what any other parent would do in this instance if this was their daughters who ended up getting into this altercation and these things transpired. The school really ain't sitting up there helping. They're pretty much trying to make sure they get all the funding and the money that they can. That's the only reason that they are even allowing any of this to even transpire. It has to do with money, because if you look at some of the government funding, if in a sense, abide by or go with certain things, you're going to get more money that you're able to allocate to different things. And more than likely, these schools ain't allocating that money to nothing. They're allocating the money to themselves. They'll do a little bit of stuff to basically show, like, all right, this is what we use the money on. But what did they use all of the money on? Every single red cent. Like I said, nobody's looking into that. And if they did, then a lot of that funding will be getting pulled from those schools. And a lot of people should be actually getting charged, but chances are they're not. They're just going to say, like, oh, it was oversight. We didn't know. We thought something, but then clearly it was something else. That's what they're going to do. But again, you know, it is what it is. But let me know if y'all made it this far. Let me know what y'all think about this video and, all the information that was directly stated in the comment description below.